Hello, my name is Rosanamod, and welcome to the rosanamod podcast. Want to modify your life? That is corny, but I'm going to keep it in there. This variety show brainstorms solutions for everyday challenges, unlocks your secret potential, think outside the box with creative ideas that improve your business and your life. Get inspired with special guests, get motivated with how-to projects for the whole family, and learn that life is too short for anything less than being happy. Laugh with me or at me, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to laugh. Hey everybody, this is Rosanamod, and welcome to the rosanamod podcast, episode 6. Today, I want to discuss networking. Before I continue, I would like to say that there are a couple of updates that might interest you. Last night, I received an email from Spotify stating that my podcast was now active as a podcaster. And I've always had an account on Spotify, but not as a podcaster, as a listener. That's important to note because when you're on there as a listener, you're not a podcaster, you see? When you go into Buzzsprout and you sign up for Spotify, on the directories tab. I'm on everything now. I'm on iTunes and Apple, but not Pandora and iHeart. Those are the ones I'm waiting on. But Spotify was like one of the first that took my podcast. And my podcast was being listened to, but I noticed something. There was like a little question in there. Would you like to claim, your artist page or something? And I thought, wait a minute, I need to have my own artist page. Why don't I have one? So I started looking around and I contacted Spotify and I explained to them, I'm a listener as Rosanamod, but I have a podcast named Rosanamod, and I would like to have that page as my own. How do I do that? They sent me a link last night. I didn't wait more than 2 days, I think, for that email. I got it last night. I clicked on the link, and it sent me straight to this other page in Spotify that I'd never seen before, where it says, claim this name, Rosanamod. I had to put in my RS feed, which you get from Buzzsprout, put that in there, and then you go through these little steps where it asks you, what is your podcast about? What's categories and subcategories is it? You get up to 3 categories that you choose from, and then from those 3 there's subcategories, and there's a few of them. There's about 6 or 8 on each that you pick. I picked as many as I could because I wanted more. More is better than less, right? And there's no such thing as too much advertising, as some famous man once said. So this is very true, and so I'm not afraid to get out there. I wanted to make sure that I picked the right subcategories, though. I think mine is wrong on there. I might have to change it. I think one of them says comedy. I don't know why it says comedy, but one of them might be, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, to make a long story short, I'm on there now as Rosanamod, and it's my own podcast. So it's separate from my other account, which is my listening account. And I think you guys should look into that, because if you have a name that's very common, somebody else might actually claim that name. I'm not sure how that works, but if it said claim, then that means somebody else might claim it, right? I mean, it's open. So now it's not open anymore for me. Networking is easy if you are creative. Outside the box thinking is one of the descriptions that I put on my podcast, which is very true. And this is what I did. I entered a few groups on Facebook, the Buzzsprout podcast community, and I don't even know what the other ones are, but I'm going to search right now and tell you. And I'm going to put in podcast. Here we go. And I got groups. I don't know how many, but I'm sure there's a lot. There's podcast movement community for podcasters, and it's 45,000 members. Then there's one called podcasts, 15,000 members. And then this one is true crime, if you do that, So I'm going to pick the ones that have the most members first, and then I'm going to pick some of that are more focused into what I'm doing, like maybe entrepreneur or women in podcasts, maybe, something like that. So here's one, online marketing made easy podcast community, 31,000 members. And then they have, separate little categories like live stream podcasts or whatever. The more that you sign up to, the better. But remember, it's really good and important to contribute your information. I don't think a lot of these places will allow you to put in your link unless they have like a special share your link day, where you put in your link and people get to share and network each other. But most of them probably don't like that. So comment. If there's somebody that asks a question, hey, can somebody help me with which mic I should choose, or what are you using? Just comment, because you put your name out there, and the more people see your name, the more they're going to get curious and look for you. That's my first tip. tip. My second tip is Instagram. I'm on Instagram as rosanamod, okay? I've always been on Instagram, not as a business. I am as a business now, but I wasn't before. It was just a regular. And if you don't know how to do Instagram business, go into Instagram, look at your account settings, and it'll say business or personal, and just pick the business. There's no big difference between the business and the personal as far as that I can see, as far as linking anything or putting anything up there. I figured out a way because I wanted to put my podcast on there. So what I did is simple. I took a screenshot of my Buzzsprout website and I put it on my photos in Instagram stories. All of my friends and whatever can see it. Make sure that your settings are set to public, not just your friends. And then I did the same thing with Pinterest because I've been on Pinterest for a couple of years and I have a lot of my DIYs and my creative things because I'm an artist and a writer, so I wanted to hook up my writing articles there, and I also wanted to hook up my pictures for those articles, which is how I link it. Pinterest does have business where you can sign up and pay for an ad with everything else. That's really all I wanted to discuss. As far as networking, here's a nice little tip. If you're on your regular Facebook page, if you don't have a marketing shop or a store, you just have a personal Facebook page, you can visit other pages and put comments on there. Like, for example, I don't have to be a member of a group to put a comment. When you go into a group in Facebook, you're going to see some are private and some are public. And then there's public groups. Now, these public groups, for example, this one right here, this one's got 15,000 members and it's called Podcasts with an exclamation point. It says public group. Okay. And then it says join group. I'm going to click that. Your request is pending. You can finish your request by answering these questions. Do you have a podcast or do you just like to listen to podcasts? I'm going to put, I have a podcast. If you have a podcast, what is the name of the podcast? Rosanamod. And by the way, I wanted Mod Pod, but somebody else took it. So that's why I chose Rosanamod. And the reason why I chose Rosanamod isn't because of the podcast. Rosanamod has always been my brand name simply because I'm a revamper. I'm a recycler. I'm a modifier. M-O-D, modify. See? And plus it's half my name. Nobody ever spells my name right. Nobody ever pronounces it correctly. So it's always Madugno or Madogno or Mambungo or Mambingo. They never get it right. Just figure Rosanamod. You can't go wrong with that. Now, here's another question. What are you excited to talk about or promote in the group? Entrepreneurship. Is that a word? Oh my gosh. I can't even spell entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Okay. My podcast is entrepreneurship. And submit. There we go. Now we're going to wait. Admins have received your answers and you'll be notified. Okay. Podcast Movement Community. Sponsored by Buzzsprout. Oh, I'm already a member. Oh. Okay. So that's it for me today. Episode 6 is done. And if there's one thing that I can leave you with before I go, it is I figured out the clown horn. Now, if you listen to episode 5 at the very end of that podcast, you're going to hear the clown horn that I was talking about that I wanted. And that is going to be in the beginning of my blooper section, which every episode is going to have from now on. I'm going to have the bloopers because I do have a lot of bloopers. I leave a lot of it in because I want it to sound real and I want it to sound imperfect. I don't think it should sound perfect. I think that we're human and we make mistakes, and the mistakes is what people relate to, and it helps you feel better because you're like, wait, she's actually screwing up and she left it on there. Wow, balls of steel. That or either that or wow, that's gross. And I'm not going to edit that because it actually depicts exactly how I am and how hard it is for me not to curse on this podcast. But I found the censor bleep. I found all the little sounds that I wanted, even the applause. So you're going to be hearing that in a lot of these things that I'm going to be doing. Talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your weekends. Get started already. Just get started. Just write it down and just do it. I'm waiting to hear from you guys. Okay? All right. Ciao. Next episode is going to be... Am I too far? Oh my God, my hand. Why is my hand so swollen? Oh, it's a freaking mouse. Okay, my edit. I need a cool... Oh, this. Oh my God. Next episode is going to be about what? Do I need to talk about the next episode? I have to have like a teaser. Oh, that's right. Okay. I'm good at that. Okay. This episode is the number after 6. What is that? Oh my God. I hope you guys enjoyed episodes that I'm on already. Do I have to say the episode number or should I? Okay, guys. I hope you enjoyed my... I know you did. If you're listening this far, you must have. Okay, everybody. Thank you for peeking in, though that sounds kind of voyeuristic, right? Thank you for stopping in, and I will catch you on the fly. Talk to you soon. Next episode is going to be about organizing your thoughts and putting them into a weekly podcast, if that's what you want to do, or a daily podcast or monthly podcast? How do you organize your episodes? What's the best way to get them together? And is there a certain pattern that you want to put them in? Let's talk about that next episode. Ciao. I don't like that ciao. Sounds weird.